I've delivered all kinds of things as a truck driver, furniture, equipment, even high-end cars, but I never imagined a simple job could leave me terrified to close my eyes at night. When I was hired to deliver a mysterious crate to Diddy's mansion, I thought it was just another job, but what I witnessed that night still keeps me awake, questioning if I had unwittingly brought something evil into his home. And the worst part, I'm not even sure what I saw was human. It all started with a phone call from my dispatcher. "Big client this time, man," he said, sounding unusually nervous. "You're heading out to Beverly Hills. Address will be texted. And listen, this delivery is high profile. Do not mess this up." He didn't need to say more, and celebrities meant big tips. I wasn't one to ask questions about cargo, but this job came with an odd condition. I wasn't allowed to open or even inspect the crate I was transporting. When I arrived at the warehouse to pick it up, something felt off right away. The crate was massive, at least 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide, secured with thick metal locks and chains. The workers loading it onto my truck wouldn't make eye contact. One of them muttered under his breath, "You wouldn't catch me near that thing after dark." I brushed it off as weird warehouse talk. I seemed some eccentric requests in my line of work, so I decided to save your day. Scratched my scalp on my way. Scratched my scalp with mugs on it. I put it in the back of my cart. I really hoped it wouldn't be something we had tried before. Not yet. The drive to Diddy's mansion was uneventful at first. The streets of Beverly Hills were quiet that night, and my GPS guided me through winding roads to his massive gated estate. I'd never been this close to celebrity wealth before. The mansion was a fortress of glass and stone, illuminated by floodlights that cut through the surrounding darkness. But as impressive as it was, I couldn't shake the growing unease that seemed to cling to the air. When I pulled up to the gates, a guard emerged from a small booth. His face was grim as he scanned my ID and checked the paperwork. "You're here with a delivery from Mr. Combs?" he asked, his tone flat but strained. I nodded and he pressed a button to open the gate. As I drove in, I noticed how quiet it was. Too quiet. For a mansion this big, I expected staff bustling around, music playing, maybe even a party. Instead, there was only silence. 2 men in black suits met me near the main entrance. They instructed me to park in the side garage, away from the main driveway. "Unload the crate here, we'll take it inside," one of them said curtly. I asked if they needed help moving it, but they refused. "Just unload it and leave," the other one snapped, his eyes darting nervously toward the mansion. Something about their behavior made my stomach turn. These guys weren't regular staff. They acted like they weren't nothing to do with whatever was in that crate. As I unlocked the cargo straps and prepared to unload, I heard something faint coming from inside the crate. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but then it happened again. A soft, rhythmic thumping, like something shifting or knocking against the walls. I froze. Whatever was in there wasn't just an object, it was alive. I wanted to say something to the men, but their expressions stopped me. They knew. Their silence, their quick glances at each other, their rushed movements. It was like they were desperate to get the crate inside before anyone noticed. My instincts screamed at me to leave it alone, but curiosity got the better of me. As I lowered the crate onto the garage floor, I pressed my ear against the wooden surface. The thumping had stopped. Instead, I heard a faint sound, almost like breathing. One of the men barked at me. "Get back in your truck, now." His voice was sharp, panicked. I stepped back, heart racing, and watched as they hurriedly wheeled the crate toward the side door of the mansion. One of the chains slipped off in the process, and I swear I saw the crate shudder, as if something inside was trying to move. The men didn't seem surprised. They just worked faster. I should have left then and there, but as they disappeared into the mansion, leaving the door ajar, I couldn't help myself. I crept toward the door, peering inside. The hallway was dimly lit, lined with modern art and extravagant furnishings, but it was empty. The only sound was the faint creak of the crate being moved further inside. I followed at a distance, keeping to the shadows. They wheeled the crate into a large room that looked like a private lounge. I hid behind the doorway, watching as they unfastened the locks. Both men were visibly shaking now. One of them muttered, "This isn't right. We shouldn't be doing this." The other snapped back, "Just follow the instructions, we get it in, and we're done." The last chain came off, and the crate's door creaked open. I strained to see what was inside, but the shadows swallowed it whole. The two men stepped back immediately, fear etched across their faces. One of them whispered, "God help us." And then I saw it. It wasn't human. The fingers were too long, the skin too smooth, almost waxy. The creature, or whatever it was, slowly emerged from the crate, its movements unnaturally fluid, like it was gliding rather than walking. It was tall, harned, its pale, slow, limit for the door. But the creature moved faster than I thought possible. In a flash, it was on him, its hand wrapping around his neck. He let out a strangled cry before the room went silent. The other man dropped to his knees, whispering something over and over. A prayer, maybe. I couldn't move. My body was frozen in place. Every instinct screaming at me to run, but I couldn't tear my eyes away. The creature tilted its head as if it were studying the remaining man. Then, without a sound, it turned and walked deeper into the mansion, dragging the lifeless body with it. The man on the floor stayed there, trembling, until he finally stood up and staggered out of the room. I barely had time to duck out of sight before he stumbled past me, his face pale as death. I didn't wait to see what happened next. I sprinted back to my truck, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst. As I pulled out of the estate, I glanced in my rearview mirror and saw the side door of the mansion slam shut. Whatever I had delivered was now inside, and I had no intention of finding out what it was. For days, I couldn't shake the image of that creature. I scoured the news, expecting to hear about something strange happening at Diddy's mansion,